I want to apologize in advance for this video because I've made it very clear that I don't want to talk about work all the time. I don't want the job to define me. That's very important to me. It's very important that I take control of my life. Like, my whole life is not this, you know? I'm here for 40 hours a week, but this ain't it. This ain't all I do. Gotta switch hands. I'm gonna turn this radio down a little bit. This is not all I do, but every now and then something comes along so significant that I have to share it with you. So let me paint you a picture of my day, all right? I'm having a pretty chill day. So at about 7:30, I walk over to Carl's Jr., which is you can actually see it from the station. It's not far. I grab me a burger. I come back. I've got donuts in my locker. I've got a soda in my locker. And I prop up my phone, and I'm in the break room watching an episode of Rick and Morty. Like, this is what I'm doing with my evening. And I'm sitting here, and I'm just chilling, and I'm sprawled out and relaxed. And I hear keys rattling, and I figure, okay, it's probably just one of the bus drivers. The door opens. It's my supervisor. Now, I'm very big on, if I act cool, everything will be cool. The worst thing you can do is, as soon as he walks in, you go, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Oh, and you go to stand up and, oh, I'm on my last 15-minute break, sir. No, I was just real cool. I was real chill. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How's your night going? Everything cool? What's your plans for Christmas? Just small talk, just kicking it. We talk about the bathroom because the bathroom's a little out of order. And he moves into, hey, this mobile supervisor position starts. I'll save you the money. I won't discuss money. But he's telling me how much the raise would be, and what would be expected of me. And he's like, yeah, I put you in for it because you've got the leadership skills that I'm looking for. You're reliable. When I put you on a shift, you show up. And I'm thinking to myself, I just abandoned my station to go get a cheeseburger, and now I'm in the break room watching cartoons. This is reliable to you? Like, really? It's like I'm literally just sitting here eating and stuffing my face and watching cartoons. He was like, yeah, man, you always show up to your shifts. I'm like, well, where else would I be? What else would I be doing? So now we're talking about the procedures and what needs to be done in order to get the position out of the way. And he was like, yeah, just go down there, take care of it. He's telling me how licenses work where he's from. And, it's just a chill conversation. It's just two co-workers having a conversation, but he happened to have more information about this new position for me than I did. And he's like, yeah, as soon as you're done, just bring in your printout and we can go from there. And I was like, okay. He was like, look, man, everybody else we've talked to, either there's something wrong with their license, or they're not interested, or they're not the most reliable. There's a short list and you're on it. It's for you, but don't take too long. I was like, okay, absolutely, sir. I will not lollygag. My plan is by first of the year to have things set in motion for that. So I feel good about it. But the key word here is supervisor position. I didn't realize that it was a supervisory position. I thought, oh, they'll give me a car and I'll patrol some of the areas where there's just really not a guard. It'll be my job to ride up and down the blocks and make sure that everything's okay. This is a supervisor's position. Like, I'm trying to put this in perspective. When I worked at DSP, and I'm sure I've told this story before, stop me if you've heard it, or just fucking fast forward. Me and my friend Mike, we started together. We weren't friends before that. We met there, but our goal was always the same. We were just like, hey, we've got families, man. We need to be full-time. Let's get full-time together. All right, man, let's make sure we stand out. Let's hustle. Let's do what we got to do so we can make full-time. And me and Mike hustled together for a year. Like a solid year, before finally they made us full-time. And they only made us full-time because they were short-handed and they needed the help. Had nothing to do with our merits, nothing to do with our hustle. They weren't respecting the work. They were covering their own asses. It was a business. No problem. I left that job in 2014. It was July 2015. July 2015 is when I left that job. And Mike stayed on, which is fine. Now I'm here. This is almost 2 years later. So now Mike's been at that job for at least 3 years. And at last report, they finally made him a supervisor. I talked to him. It was closer to the end of the summer. I was actually stationed downtown, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes. And he's like, "Yeah, they made me a supervisor. It came with a raise. Again, not discussing the money here." So he's like, "Yeah, it came with a raise," and I was like, "Yeah, man, good for you." Good for you, and I legit am proud of him because he's a good guy. Just had a baby. He deserves it. His wife's good people. He's good people. He's the right guy for that job. But it took a year before he was full time. It took 3 years before they made him a supervisor. So now you're telling me that I walked in the door of this company day one, 60 hours a week, always getting overtime. It was always available to me, always. And now I've just now gotten past my 90 days. I'm just at the point where the whole probation period is over, and I'm ready to move in. It's like, hey, he's settled in. He's a good guy, and they want to make me a supervisor. 90 days into it, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. While I think he's a good dude and he deserves it, I feel like I hustled my ass for this and I got it. The only reason I never got it at DSP was because they didn't recognize talent. They weren't looking for talent, and there was no room for advancement. For you to move up, somebody had to get fired. And that's ridiculous to me. Here, 90 days, move on up. Like, wow. Like, in my orientation, the major was discussing with, he was like, yeah, and in a couple of years, anybody in here can be a captain. There's always room for advancement. And I remember thinking to myself, Captain Harris. Yeah, that sounds fucking good. So here I am. I'm moving up. If this is a supervisory position, if we're talking Star Trek terms, we're talking this would be the equivalent of lieutenant commander. I'm like, that's like third in command. Like, all right. So on my to-do list of things that have to be done when I am in fact a supervisor in a mobile position will be to drive around to the laziest guard that I know and offer him water, because the spot that I'm in, this used to be his, and I always felt like he didn't deserve it because he wasn't working hard. He was just always in the break room. He didn't do anything. In a 9-hour shift, he was in here at least 7 hours. That's ridiculous. So I'll have to roll by and just, hey dog, yeah, supervisor. I did that. Next on my list, not to rub it in, but I've got to go see Mike. I'm sure my job will take me downtown at some point on a day that he works. And I'll shoot him a text and say, hey, dude, where are you? I'll roll by, talk to you for a minute. And he'll be like, oh, man, they made you supervisor? Yes, sir, they did. After 90 days. Took you 3 years. Took me 3 months. Because that's my hustle. That's how hard I hustled. That's how. And what's funny is I didn't feel like I was working very hard. See, a very long time ago, somebody told me, either they told me or I heard it, was if you find a job where you do what you love, you'll never have to work. And while I don't get up every morning and jump out of the bed and go, yay, another day at Mather, I don't wake up and go, oh fuck, I don't want to go. I'm good at what I do. They recognize that I'm good at what I do, and that's enough. Like, if something were to go horribly wrong and I were to not get this promotion, I would still be honored just to be nominated for the position. They saw a quality in me that they thought was a supervisory type quality, and they wanted to give me that opportunity. And that would be enough. But I'm going to get this spot. I'm going to do what I have to do to get in there, because, damn. This is it, dude. This has been, it's the perfect cap off to what's been a roller coaster of a year. And damn, 2017 is off to a fantastic start.